Hello and welcome to this edition of Let's Compute. My name is Tony Slakowski and I'm the Director of Technology for the Peters Township School District. You know, technology covers many facets today, including visual media. And in the past episodes of Let's Compute, I have shared with you how teachers and students are using digital cameras, smart boards, and computers in the classroom. Today, it's my job here to share with you how we focus on video technology in our schools and also in a unique partnership with our community here at the high school level. I'm pleased to welcome two special guests today. First, we have with us Mrs. Robin Hodgin Frick. Welcome, Robin, from the Peters Township High School Media Department, and also Mr. Ryan Boni, the Public Access Director for Channel 7 here in Peters Township, and welcome to you also, Ryan. It's great to have you both here. On this episode of Let's Compute, our guests are going to provide us with more insight as to what goes on behind the scenes here at our local studio and how the partnership between the township and the school district benefits our students as well as you, the viewing audience. Robin, I'd like to start with you first. Could you share with us what the course is like in the study of media here at the high school? For instance, when do the students begin studying media, and what types of things do they learn in their classes?
Sure. Well, thank you very much for having us here.
Not a problem.
I like the opportunity to sing our own praises every now and again. Well, the students, when they enter the high school level, must first take what we call Media 1. It is a survey of communication course. It's a mass comm class, similar to what you'd take in college, like Comm 101. Students learn in that course media literacy, and then they get a broad-based, sort of a paintbrush, if you will, of all the different things that they can take at the upper levels. They get a little bit of photography, a little bit of journalism, a little bit of yearbook, and a little bit of video or broadcast journalism as well. Once they complete that course, and that is offered to freshmen through seniors, so 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders can all take that course. Primarily, honestly, it's a freshman level course. There's, I would say, 80% of the kids that take the course are coming straight from the middle school, from our Works program, into that Media 1 Survey of Communication course, that mass comm class. And once they complete that course, they have the opportunity to follow several different fields of study. We have photography, we have yearbook, we have journalism, and we also have broadcast journalism.
So when we think of the media department, it's just not limited to television media.
It's not at all,
okay.
No. There's a lot of different avenues that the kids can explore, and they do that. We have a great, Ryan's wife teaches our photography class. We have Mrs. Sittler teaching our journalism class, and Mrs. Sittler and Mrs. Boni both teach yearbook.
And Mr. Bastos is a part of the department as well?
He is. He teaches Media 1 primarily. Next year he'll be teaching a section of photography, so that's fun for all of us. But he's primarily our Media 1, our mass communications teacher. He has been, over in the studio, he has taught broadcast journalism as well.
Is required here at the town?
They are not. This is an elective, which is the high school, because what it gives our kids the opportunity to do is to really focus on media as an art, which is great, but it also gives them, like I said before, an opportunity to really delve into media literacy, which is extremely important. There's a lot of messages out there. We want our kids to be educated. A great program here on how to receive those messages and to understand those messages. So that's a big part of it as well.
So you really fine-tune and go into depth a little more than what they do, say, at the elementary or the middle school level.
Sure.
Here they're getting a foundation that's going to prepare them for college-level communications.
Absolutely.
And also, hopefully, Ryan will be involved in the community with taping shows as well.
Right.
And that's what we want. And so as we form this partnership here and we work together, I know that it's nice for me to sit here because I can look out and see what the students are doing, and I know what the Peters Township High School studio looks like, and I know the types of equipment they have. Maybe, Robin, you could share with us a little more and with the audience to let them know what are the types of skills and jobs that the students learn, and what do they do here in the studio?
Right. Well, a lot of people don't understand that when they do a show with Peters Township Community Television, more than likely 90% of their crew is going to be high school students, and people don't normally understand that. The students don't just, excuse me, produce videos that you see on YouTube. That's not just what we do. That's one aspect of what we do, you know, the creative aspect of it, but then there's the live production aspect of it. And what you're seeing here in this show today, this is a completely student crew today. So it is, there are, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's about 8 kids running. Here is the students that are running the show today. So there are no adults, and you know, they're young adults, obviously, but there are no teachers actually running any pieces of equipment or adult volunteers. This is a completely student-based crew today. So, and what I did earlier in the week, I think it was last week, I shot some behind-the-scenes footage of the morning announcements. So if we could take a look at that morning announcements B-roll, I can show you what it looks like back in the control room where the kids are actually running the show from behind the scenes.
So we'll let that roll.
So the students run everything from directing to tech directing to audio to graphics to camera to floor directing, and they have a lot of level of responsibilities that we hope that they are taking on to the collegiate level. And a lot of the kids, I hear back from them, you know, hey, Mrs. Frick, this was great. We had an opportunity to learn team building skills, to learn being a part of a production, to being a part of a team, and all these different aspects of media. And they've really carried those over to the collegiate level. So that's one of the things that I hear as a feedback from kids that go on to this in college. So,
well, I hear from them too, which is really nice to know that their experiences here are very much valued. And our students have been able to get into some quality institutions because of what is produced here and what they learn here. So kudos to you and the staff here.
Well, thank you very much. We have a student right now at NYU. We have one at USC right now, and also at Northwestern. So all very reputable schools for different aspects of video and film and broadcast journalism. But we've sent some kids to some pretty impressive schools from here, and they all have felt extremely prepared to handle the course load and the workload at that level, which makes me really happy. And I really do think our kids have an opportunity, you know, a leg up on other students coming from different schools around the country. I think that our kids have a great opportunity because of our beautiful partnership with Peters Township Community Television. That's
great. And, you know, speaking of that, let's go right here to Ryan, who's with us from Channel 7. And Ryan, I know that there's an awful lot of equipment here. And we're lucky that our students have access to such high quality equipment that I know the township purchases. Maybe you could share a little bit more with us. What exactly is the involvement of the township as far as the equipment goes, and even some of the resources, because after all, you're a resource in its own right here with us.
Right. Well, you know, the big thing about the township, we collect a franchise fee that comes through the cable company, in this case Comcast, but soon also to be Verizon as well. And that money then goes towards the purchase of different pieces of equipment. And basically what we try to do, and Robin and I discuss constantly when we're creating budgets, we try to coordinate our budgets so that way we can buy the best possible equipment that can be used by the biggest number of people that's possible. And we try to get stuff that students, when they go out into the professional world, if they decide to do that, are going to encounter. And so the space that you're in right now is it's a full-fledged 3-camera switched operation. It has a full lighting grid, the ability to produce live or tape delayed programming. The control room that would be behind the cameras from where you can see right now, there's a complete setup in there of a switcher and a graphics generator and an audio board, and we place the students in positions again in the way that they would be in a professional environment. And both Rob and I both have professional backgrounds prior to coming here, and there is some footage that we're going to take a look at here behind the scenes of one of the productions that we've done. And you'll see, again, as Robin mentioned, it's a student crew. The crew has the ability to communicate to one another through an intercom system. They have the abilities to roll in openers, tapes, put graphics onto the program. Anything, again, that you would see in a professional style environment. And then on top of that, beyond the studio environment, there's a lot of remote equipment as well that people can check out. There are single camera units where they can go videotape plays, sporting events, anything that goes on in the community, and then come back here to Peters Township Community Television, and there are 7 different editing stations, all computerized now, all interconnected now, where people can come in and actually edit their footage and use it for their programs or to create a program unto itself.
So this studio in itself is not just limited to Robin and her students, but there's access for the people in the community who maybe have an interest in video and would like to pursue that, and Channel 7 or access public access provides those opportunities for them as adults then.
And what's great is people that have an idea in the community, they want to do a show on something, you know, in a regular community where you have public access television, they'd have to find some friends to come and learn how to use the equipment and get prepared on it. And then you're going to get varying levels, you know, of production quality. What's great is somebody from the community wants to come in and do a television show, half-hour television show. We sit down, we meet with them, we kind of discuss format, help them generate ideas. And then they walk in, they bring us guests, tell us who's coming. They walk in and they sit down, and a half hour later they have a complete television production that goes straight out to air from that point on. And so
if we have people in the community that aren't interested in performing in front of the camera, but would like to be behind the camera, are those opportunities available? I know that they had been in the past, but it seems that things have shifted, that now they're more interested in delivering a show than in actually producing a show on the back end.
Right, and what is nice is that those opportunities still do exist if someone does want to come in, and it happens more with church services and other programs that are more driven by the adults themselves. And what we find, you know, in the beginning when Peters Township Community Television really started kind of getting rolling in the mid-1980s, there was that novelty fact of, hey, this is brand new. Now, so many people have camcorders in their house. They have a lot of people have video editing on their computers at home, and so that novelty's kind of worn off. So they just want to get the best possible quality that they can and get their message out or get their production. You know, they want to have an entire season of a particular sporting event recorded, and they're not as interested necessarily, we see more often than not, in the actual physical utilizing of the equipment. But yes, I mean, anyone in the community is welcome to come and utilize what we have.
Well, go ahead.
Well, what I find really nice about the fact that there are community members and students working on the same production is the fact that kids do get to interact with other adults in our community, not just teachers here in our building, and not just Mr. Boni, who works for the township, and with me, who works for the school district, but then our producers of the soccer games, the girls' soccer, the boys' soccer, the lacrosse, and all of the different sporting events. It's a great opportunity for those kids to get an opportunity to interact with a different type of person, a different adult out there, and to see those two facets, those two different age groups working together is great, and it's a good learning experience for everybody.
Well, not just adults too. I mean, some of the footage you saw there earlier was Ask the Doctor, and that's a program that's produced by Canonsburg General Hospital, and they utilize the students through the Peters Township Chamber of Commerce. I mean, there are professional organizations too that these kids get interaction with on a professional level when they're still in high school, which I think is just an unbelievably valuable experience for them when they move on, because obviously they're going to interact with people as they get out there, and more often than not, media seems to be one of the means with which businesses communicate. You know, I mean, it's all interconnected, and so it's a very valuable skill for students to learn.
The students, in addition to that, don't just shoot here on site. For example, one of the shows that Ryan mentioned was Chamber Focus, and we work with the Peters Township Chamber of Commerce, Carol Foley and Linda Vera, that belong to that civic organization. And our students often go to new businesses that are opening here in Peters Township and shoot footage on site to produce that. So it's not just here in the studio where they're doing that. They're also using the field equipment that's provided with Peters Township Community Television, and working with the civic organization Chamber of Commerce, and going to these new businesses that are cropping up in Peters Township and actually producing a show about that particular business that's opening, or maybe just a new look on the business. So, and
that's positive, because the businesses at a local level are getting to know the high caliber students that we have here, and they get to make connections with the students as well. So once again, and we know that the Chamber of Commerce is actually very supportive of the school district.
They're wonderfully supportive.
So that's another way of making connections, and everybody's benefiting.
And what's so exciting to me personally about public access is that it is so localized. I mean, it is. Sometimes we lose sight, I think, in our jobs of, we get so tied into the technology of it and making the classes happen and making the shows happen. Sometimes you stop and you forget, wow, residents of Peters Township can sit down and watch a group of high school students deliver what's going on in their own community on their television set. I mean, there are other alternatives. I'm sure we'll probably talk about those later with the internet and those sorts of things, but how localized the information on Peters Township Community Television is just, can be extraordinary. I mean, from the comfort of your own home, you can flip through. You can watch the school board meeting. You can watch a council meeting. You can check out news that's going on. You can watch most of the Peters Township sports that are going on. That window into what's going on in this community is just a very, we're very excited always about that, and we appreciate the fact that people take advantage of that and utilize that.
I think it's great because it gives Peters Township a sense of community.
It does.
Because this community spread out over
very
so many
large.
square miles, and it has little communities and pockets, and so it's nice to know that we do have this in common, and that the media of public access TV is helping to bring people together, and also it's intergenerational as well.
It definitely is. In addition, I live in the Chartiers Valley School District, and anytime you turn on public access, the public access station there, and I was in Montour School District prior to living in Char Valley, and it's just a bulletin board. It's just, an old school bulletin board that gives information. It certainly doesn't show. We did 587 shows combined, about 587 shows last school year. I mean, we're putting on some serious programming, everything from, like we said, board meetings to the morning announcements to, football games to plays.
And speaking of the morning announcements, there's an interest when I was catching the one headline news show that they did on Bower Hill, that the students not only at Bower Hill, but also at McMurray, at the middle school, at Pleasant Valley, they all have their own little news shows they do in their format, and they're watching what's going on here at Peters Township High School to see how they're developing their format. So hopefully you're seeing the effects of that over time, that students are eager to stay with media and get to know more about visual broadcast media by participating here at the high school when they come after their experiences prior to that.
Well, it's always neat when I send a crew to a different building, and we do that often, and the district has been great about allowing my students to travel to the different buildings to cover events. And actually 3 students in this class, Rob Griffith and Ali Olenek and Jack Harza, had the opportunity to travel to Bower Hill Elementary School recently, where they did their culmination of their Pittsburgh unit, and they were able to go and experience that. And Jack, a junior at the high school, is actually involved in what the kids are doing down at Bower Hill, which is great. But we cover, everything from the Mexican fiestas at PV to the dance recitals. We just recorded the dance recital. It was the PV dance recital, I believe, on Friday night. It was just, our students recorded it. Dave Brown, a student in this class, happened to be the kid recording the little, Pleasant Valley dance recital that'll air, coming up soon.
Full circle, so
well, I guess it does. I hope Dave Brown and the dance recital doesn't go any more of a circle than that. But
well, one of the hot topics in Peters Township right now is the fact that we have Verizon moving in and offering an alternative to Comcast. So they all want to know, are we going to get Channel 7, Channel 19, and Channel 17 on Verizon, and why don't we have it already? So the question's almost answered itself, but Ryan, I thought maybe you could shed more light on the progress that's being made there.
Well, the quick answer is yes. The public access stations are coming to Verizon. They are required under the agreement that was signed to start providing it within 1 year after they start offering service, which was the tail end of this past year. So yes, at some point during this year, you will see all 3 PEG channels appearing on Verizon. So, and they have actually, as of this past week, they've been working on laying some fiber lines into the building. And so basically the holdup is, as often is, it's just the technical aspect of actually physically running the lines to it and getting it up and running. And it's funny, the one thing, go slightly off topic, but the one thing that I find, most often, and you probably see it every day in your job too, is that it's technology, and sometimes people have to learn that there's patience involved in technology.
It doesn't always work the first time.
Right, and so many things that we're used to.
I don't know why you would say that.
and so many things we're used to, the television set, the computer. I mean, these are technologies that have been refined over 50, 60 years, and sometimes people, you roll out a new piece of software, you roll out something brand new, and people expect it to happen immediately. And there's often so many layers to getting that to work and working out the bugs. And that's the excitement of working in ever evolving technology, but it's also sometimes can be a big hurdle. But to answer your question, yes, the stations will be appearing shortly on Verizon, and we also are doing a big thing of trying to put as many of our programs onto the internet as well through our website.
Right.
And that's just another avenue to try to reach more people, because not everybody's going to have cable television in their household. Some people are still using rabbit ears. Some people are using the satellite services. And so we want to try to get the programming out to as many people as possible.
Now, speaking of these rabbit ear people,
Mm-hmm.
these are the people who are still getting things through the airwaves. But the federal government's putting a stop to that. They really aren't. It's just that you can't use the same old television set to get those, what we call off the cable or just off air type of programming. So this is the big dates in, what, February 2009?
17th, 2009 is the big shut off, the analog shut off date. Well, and as often happens when the federal government mandate happens, things happen, and then the education sometimes they forget about doing. And this is probably one of the most confusing things out there right now, is people are really getting frightened. They're like, well, what's going to happen? Is my TV not going to work? What's going to happen in February of 2009? And well, actually, a lot of people aren't even aware that something's happening. Basically, without getting too technical, because you know I would.
Why would we think that?
Correct.
Yes. You have to think of digital television as the way it gets to you, the delivery system with which it gets to you. It's not to be confused with high-definition television. And a lot of people get those confused and think, oh, well, do I have to go out and buy a $3,000 high-definition TV, after February 2009? No. This is the means with which you get the signal into your house. If you have cable, if you have a satellite service, if you get Verizon, the Comcast, none of those are going to be affected on February 2009. Everything you have in your house is fine because they're going to continue to offer analog service, at least for the foreseeable future. The people who have to be concerned are the people who are using rabbit ears, using some means of getting off air. And in most people's houses, that's the extra TV that's in the kitchen. That's the extra TV you've got somewhere that's not connected to a cable service. And what's going to happen is couple things. You either have a TV that already has a digital tuner and you're perfectly fine. And unfortunately, the government didn't waited until kind of the tail end of this past year to start putting stickers on TVs to say this will not work after February 2009. They probably should have done that immediately when they said,
when they passed the law.
Yes, and said, let's do this. But so you either have a digital television set, or the federal government is offering coupons that you can send away for I believe, the 2 per household for money off. It's $30 or $40.
Yeah, I think it's around $40.
$40 off of a converter box, and basically that will allow you to take the signals that are coming in. Because right now, most of the local stations are already broadcasting digital signals, and you can get them currently. What's just going to happen is those analog signals are going to go away. And so basically, again, if you're plugging into something, if you got a service coming into your house, and that TV's plugging into a box or into the cable in the wall or whatever, you're perfectly fine. If you've got rabbit ears, you're going to have to kind of consider what your options might be. One little hurdle that's happened recently is low power television stations, of which there's, I don't know, like 2,700 or something in the country, are threatening a lawsuit against this because they're saying we're going to be completely
Out of the loop.
overseen by this.
Right.
We're going to be completely out of the loop in this. And so who knows? February 2009 may come and go, and maybe something will happen with that. So hopefully that answers and alleviates some of the concerns.
I think that's really helpful. So right now, if you're watching this show on Comcast and you're plugged in, you're okay.
Yes.
But if you have a TV in your house that's not plugged in, it's not okay. So you'll need to get that fixed. But we do appreciate those updates. That's really helpful. As we've been talking here today, you've both been very good about sharing the benefits to the community and to the school district about this partnership, as how we benefit our students and their learning process, and how the adults in the community benefit by us working together. This is probably one of the most unique partnerships that exists, even I think in the state. I don't know of too many school districts and municipalities that have joined together like this. And thankfully, both the school district and the municipality want to see this continue. And I know I'm appreciative from my end that they want to see the partnership continue. So far, so good. And I know, though, we're going to have to start looking towards the future. And Robin and I have been talking about curriculum and equipment needs and how do things develop in the future. So now both of you putting your heads together, when you look towards the future here in broadcast media, what do you see out there on the horizon? What do you think's coming? What kind of opportunities would you like to provide for students? how would you like to see the community view television or get some experiences?
Well, one of the things that Ryan and I have been talking about for a while now is that you know, the way that students consume media is completely different from how, you know, we grew up and how we, you know, digested what was out there. And a lot of our kids get their news, get their information, get their entertainment from the computer, from the cell phone, from, you know, the internet. They're not necessarily sitting down to, at any time, you know, watch television. So that was one of the things that Ryan started to explore last school year. He started to look at putting some of our shows up on Google Video, who also, they happen to own YouTube, but to put it up onto Google Video to get our message out there and to get it out, you know, in the hands of the kids that were producing it. So that's one of the things. We have, how many shows now up on Google Video?
It's probably 40, 50 at least.
Right. So this will be up. I'm sure this will be up on Google Video. That's just great. For, you know, probably by the end of this week, we, you know, Ms. D puts it up on Google Video, and you're able to actually, Ms. Doherty, sorry, we're actually able to at that point, you know, download it or to watch it right, you know, streaming live on your desktop and actually see what's happening. So.
And we've also talked about ways that perhaps we can take our actual cable, even the bulletin board.
Yes.
And insert it into the district webpage and eventually get that out. Or do some type of programming, live streaming through the district website and perhaps even maybe through the municipality. We can arrange for that type of partnership. Anything else that you see?
Well, and one of the big challenges, again, is kind of sorting through what is just fun technology and what's going to be useful for the students. And as Robin said, yeah, I mean, we're definitely exploring more ways to get the message out there. I mean, we want to reach towards where the kids are getting their information from and where adults are getting their information from, because, you know, I kind of disagree with the idea that TV, you know, a lot of people say TV is going away, because I think TV is still one of the few, as they say, communal experiences that you have. People sit around a TV set together.
Still with fire.
So I think
when a computer's such a personal thing, it's not
right. And so I think there's always going to be an avenue for television, or at least for the foreseeable future, from that aspect of it. But as far as getting news and information, absolutely, you know, getting towards podcasts and utilizing cell phone style video, all those kind of things we want to look to embrace. And you know, a lot of people have asked me too about high definition. You know, high definition. You know, that's the big thing. Should we go high definition? And again, you weigh the pros and cons of that. You say, well, that's great. Are you really getting anything out of it? Well, you're getting a better picture quality. What are the problems with it? Well, you have huge file size, and trying to manage multiple editing stations and do this will bog down the system completely. And you know, probably not anytime in the foreseeable future will public access television ever be seen in a high definition format. But at the same time, do we want to look at doing something high definition that is going to be just for the website? Absolutely. I mean, that might be something we want to do in the future.
Well, that's our cue, and it's incredible to see what the students are learning and what the community is doing here at Peters Township High School. The fact that we can combine municipal and district resources to work together for the benefits of everyone is just great. I want to thank the Period 9 media students, and especially Robin Hodgin Frick and Ryan Boni for being my guests here today on Let's Compute. It was a pleasure. I hope all of you learned a lot more about what's going on with our educational experiences here at Peters Township High School. Thanks for joining me, and remember, happy computing.